I'm Peter Stevens. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees at Oliverian School. My connection with Oliverian actually goes back quite a way. After a career myself of independent education, first as a teacher and then as a school headmaster in traditional independent boarding and day schools, after 25 years of doing that, I transformed myself to become an educational consultant. And in that role, I provided college counseling services and school services, school search services for students looking for schools and colleges and special needs schools and other kinds of programs. I served for a while as a academic director in a therapeutic school. And while all that was going on, I ran into Barclay McKinnon, who is, as some of you know, was the founding headmaster at Oliverian. And I visited Oliverian in the spring of its first year of operation, which was actually in the spring of 2005. I went up there thinking that I'd maybe get some business, my new consultancy business at the time, and I left there as the school's first college counselor. That's the thing with working with Barclay. One gets hooked in with Barclay's personal charisma and his belief in the mission of the school that he was starting. I then worked part-time as the school's college counselor for the next 8 or 10 years or so. I was there 2 or 3 days a week most years, and I also served as interim academic director for a couple of years before I gave way in that and the college counseling to Abby Hood, whom you all know is now, very happily for us, head of our school. And in 8 or 10 years ago, when the Board of Trustees was first started, shortly thereafter that I was asked to join the board, which I happily did, and then moved to become vice chair, and then chair, succeeding Gene Townsend, who was the founding chair of our board, and also a parent of a student in the initial class way back in 2004, 2005. And I'd like to add that the majority of our board is made up of former parents. Clearly, parents, families love what the school was able to help their kids do, and we all want to help future kids as well. So during these years, recent years, I've worked with the Board of Trustees, who are a voluntary group of men and women, some former staff like myself, some other volunteers from the community area. We have one alumna on the board now, alumna of the school. We have national representation. We're on the East Coast, the Midwest, and the far West Coast, trustees all around. We're purely voluntary. We do our job because we love the school usually for a variety of reasons. And so I got hooked 20 years ago or so, and I'm still hooked. And that's who I am, and that's why I do what I do. Let me talk a little bit about why Oliverian is important to me personally. I spent a long career, as I mentioned earlier, working in independent schools, traditional independent schools. We were the kinds of schools that did a great job with cookie-cutter kids in a lot of cases, with kids who would make it anyway. We had always worked with some challenging kids, of course, but our mainstream were kids who were going to prep school or boarding school or day school, private school anyway, and then going on to colleges. Wonderful young people, wonderful families, but the quirky kids, the really quirky kids who marched to different drummers, who had difficulties in traditional settings, who found adolescence being a particularly difficult challenge, fell through our cracks in those schools. Oliverian has taught me a lot about working with kids like that and trying to help them, trying to build a network so they don't fall through the cracks, so they don't scatter, so they become grounded as much as they can. We engaged regularly a highly professional, caring and compassionate faculty, group of men and women who want to work with Oliverian type kids. We work with students who are vulnerable and endearing and challenged, and we provide them what I consider to be, in most cases, a transformative experience in their lives. Their experience at Oliverian can help them become something that maybe they wanted to be, maybe they thought it was a little bit beyond their grasp, or maybe they were never able to envision what they could be. We help young people find a place in the world. That's our motto. That's our mission. That's what we live by daily. Yeah, we're a school. We're an accredited school, accredited by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, probably the most prestigious of that organization in the country, that kind in the country. So we are a school. We have kids, and we teach classes, we provide grades, transcripts, and send college counseling and send them off to college if they wish to go or to their next stop on the road, whatever it might be. But we're also a community. And we're a community where lives are changed, where kids can find new directions for themselves, where they can discover values that other people have held that maybe these young people didn't know existed, that they could test themselves against standards, where they could be picked up, helped to their feet after inevitably, in many cases, they hit walls, bump into walls, go off the rails for a short time, perhaps, whatever it might be. And our faculty and our staff are there to do exactly that, and that's what they do. I've watched myself lives being transformed. We offer a community that is deeply seated in a set of values that we all subscribe to. Our core values, for example, acknowledge that we accept and love people for who they are, and we challenge each other to grow and improve. We also honor the individual and celebrate our differences and uniqueness, while at the same time we value community and balance our own needs with those of the larger group. And we practice joy. We live joy. We seek, savor, and celebrate joy in our daily lives. And joy comes in many, many forms. Sometimes we have to take our traditional blinders off and just recognize joy for what it is. And we recognize the essential value of doing very hard things. We ask our students to do hard things. We do hard things ourselves as faculty members, as trustees. We make hard decisions. We set challenging goals for ourselves. We set challenging goals for our faculty and for our young people. We approach life in ways that we think it ought to be lived. And we have the particular talents, I think, of encouraging young people to do the same. I can't imagine a more extraordinarily positive environment for young people who are challenged by traditional educational approaches, by societal issues that they all face. I'm glad I'm not an adolescent again, still today, but if I were, and if I were one who face the challenges that a lot of these kids face, I would want to be an Oliverian. I would want to be a student there. Because at Oliverian I would find mentors who would help me grow and in whom I could place complete trust. That's a gift. Why should people support a tuition charging institution? I've told you a bit about why I'm in love with the school and with service to it, and some of the miracles I believe that it can help occur. We don't create miracles, but we help miracles evolve from within in students, I think anyway. So why support us? Because we're unique. I defy you to find another school that's really like us. There are some schools that would like to be like us, We're not a therapeutic school. We're not a traditional school. We're somewhere in that niche in between, and we do that so well that I can say honestly, there's not another one like us. Wouldn't you want to support a community where that supports the kind of core values that I just shared with you a few minutes ago? I sure do, and that's why I do what I do. And that's why my colleagues on the board do what they do. We're all volunteers. That's why the faculty work an extraordinary number of hours every day, every week, every year they get paid, but not a whole heck of a lot. Not as much as we'd like to be able to pay them. We live and operate in buildings that are not purposefully built for schools. We want to improve them. We want to add to our facilities. We want to develop our facilities. We can't do that with tuition monies. We are a nonprofit organization, and we seek contributions from people, from foundations, from organizations, for everything that we do and everything we're planning to do. We're going through, as I talk to you here, we're going through a strategic planning process. Next year, this coming school year, 2023-24, will be our 20th year in operation. I'm proud to say that will be my 19th year of involvement with Oliverian. There's 20. I think that's pretty extraordinary. It's my longest serving position or involvement in any one institution in my long life of education service, which started actually for me when I graduated from college way back in 1965. That'll date me, folks. You can do your math from there. But I've seen a lot of schools. I've worked in wealthy schools. I've worked in schools and run schools, American international schools in Europe, and 2 schools here in the States as well, traditional boarding and day schools. I've helped all of them raise money, but I've never been able to do that for a school that begs for the kind of support that Oliverian really needs to support our kids. I'd ask you where else you can find a community where the core values are really based on love. And we talk about love a lot. Dangerous as that might be, but we talk about it. It's important to us. Where the core values reflect recognition and understanding of the daily struggles and challenges and joys of living. We acknowledge those things. We put them out front, and we ask people to deal with what's important to them. We do all this in a safe and beautiful rural environment. We have mountains. We're surrounded by mountains in a beautiful valley. It's green. Well, most of the year anyway. Part of the year it's white. We help young people find their place in the world. What could be finer than that? What could be more deserving of your support than that? So I would ask you on this Oliverian Giving Day to think about how you can help us help your children and future children. Your gifts are tax deductible. You can make a pledge. You can actually give a gift. You can call and talk to me anytime. The school will be happy to tell you how to get a hold of me. You can talk with folks in the development office, admissions office. You can talk with Bethany, Barclay, Abbey Hood, people who are involved with external affairs of the school. And I'll tell you more or less the same thing, but each of our stories is different. Why we came here, why we stay here is different. So this is important work that we do with children, and we need your support. We are in a position where your annual gifts will help support our current operations. We will be coming back to you and to others like you, lots of others like you, as we get into the plans that are going to emerge from our strategic planning operations today. And you can bet on that. We'll continue to do that. And So join us in partnership in this extraordinary educational venture. For your children, the children of friends of yours, maybe for those children you never had but wish you did. That's why we're here. Thank you very much.